Do you guys ever turn down trailers? I mean, people come to you and say this game is such crap, we can't even work with it?
We've turned down projects. I don't know because it was based on the state of a game or whatever.
Right.
Typically, we'll turn down something just because we feel like we don't want to take away a specific team to work on that at that point in time, because they're already sequestered doing something else. I don't know that I would. I don't think that look at something and go. Part of the problem is that when you see games in unfinished states, a lot of times it's difficult to actually make a determination as to exactly how far along the game.
It's a good question. I mean, how early do Tabitha, when you're working with trailer companies, I mean, how early are you, like for something like Call of Duty 4 last year? I mean, how early did you involve the trailer companies and start talking about what you wanted to do? Because we saw the reveal trailer in April. I mean, when did you guys start working on that?
January.
Wow.
That's when the game started to come together, where we knew we could put together kind of a vision for what we wanted to accomplish and work together to make that happen. But yeah, I mean, January, even for this upcoming project I'm working on, January is when we engaged.
Right.
And
I think we actually had a build in November that we were looking at.
Yeah, and
we play with it. We look at technical
Lucky
aspects.
guy, November.
Well, we keep these guys up to speed with what we're doing. I think that's one good thing, is there's kind of this constant communication about what's going on. And for me, it's like less is more, right? It's like if the game's not ready, don't put a trailer out. Let's just start there. Not
how
a good
many?
decision.
I mean, when you guys work on trailers, Jim, I mean, how many versions do you go through? Because you always hear these stories about Hollywood movie trailers, and they go through 40 versions of the trailers, and they Frankenstein it all together. I mean, is it the same thing? We see the final product and see how great these trailers are, but I mean, the first version of the Assassin's Creed trailer or version 1 of the Call of Duty E3 trailer, are they much different than what we see at the end?
It depends. Every campaign's different, and we've done 2 cuts on a trailer and be done, and we've done 20 trailers on a game trailer and been done. So it depends on the client, depends on how many people are involved. I mean, it gets a little more difficult with the movie companies are involved. You got a game company if you're doing Warner Brothers movie. We worked on the Superman movie. Getting Warner Brothers to sign off and EA to sign off. It's a lot of people that have to sign off. So those kind of can be more complicated.
That's what we should show on this show. We should show the original cuts of some of these trailers that never seen before, right? Were we impressed with the original version of the Call of Duty E3 trailer, version 1?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
It was that good?
We started in a good place. We were on the same page. I think that's a big thing, is making sure that the brand and the developer and the agency are all starting from the same page and there's alignment. So we didn't have a lot of course correction. So I think we knew where we were going and what we wanted to accomplish.
A lot of times that stuff that you deal with, and it happened obviously a lot in Call of Duty. It happens. I'm sure it happened on Assassin's Creed. A lot of it is the developer or the publisher saying, "Wait a minute, ESRB is by no way going to take allow that to be put in
so
there."
That shooting line was.
So you're obviously always trying to push the envelope, but the fact of the matter is that the publisher often will say, look, that's probably taking it a little bit too far, because obviously that's a self-policing thing too, and they don't want to upset the ESRB.
Right.
So there is that fine line of making sure that editorially you're not showing it too much from a violent standpoint or otherwise.
And violence means different things to different people. Europeans have a little bit stronger reaction to violence, and so again, it's global is what I manage, and so just being mindful of that as well. So, but yeah, it'd be different. I think that our trailers would be different from start to finish, but I think it's more because we iterate so quickly, and because IW was like, let's make this, we're going to change this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it was just I don't know, it was more like the process than it was.
So do you, Jim, when you're working on a trailer, I mean, do you storyboard it out? I mean, do you come up with a vision? I mean, how do you sort of, when someone says, hey, we want you to do Assassin's Creed, how do you take that, directive? I mean, do you guys have to pitch companies on your ideas for trailers?
Sometimes, we don't do a lot of storyboarding for gameplay trailers, because we have the gameplay and we have editors, and we can just cut it, and we can cut you a cut almost faster than we can storyboard it. So why don't we just cut it? If we're doing a CG piece, then you want to storyboard and do animatics, and it's a whole longer process. But for gameplay trailers, we would prefer to just write a nice script. We'll present a bunch of scripts first, typically, 6, 8, 10 scripts, and the client will evaluate them, and we'll fine-tune it, and sometimes we'll go through a bunch of script iterations to get the script just right how we want it.
Bring the big movie trailer voiceover guy in?
He'll come once we get the script signed off on, yes. Typically that'll show up at some point. But then we'll start cutting the trailer off the script, a written script. And sometimes the client gives us a script, and sometimes we do the script. It just sort of depends on the client and how many internal people they have. Some companies have more internal, creative people, some don't have any. And so we have to do all of it, which we love doing, and sometimes we'll execute someone else's script for them. And sometimes it's both, and we'll take their script and fix it. They'll say, here's a script we roughed together, can you fix it for us? And we'll tweak it, and they'll tweak it, and it's really collaborative. I mean, it really has to be back and forth, because they know the game better than we do. Although we get really immersed in the game and play it a lot and get immersed in the story. I mean, we'll read a 300-page script to learn every dialogue line and find out what pieces we can pull out and put in the trailer. So there's a lot of research up front to get the download in the game.
40 hours playing the game, right?
We don't necessarily 40 hours, but we'll spend 40 hours doing other things
Capturing
involved in
it.
the game, capturing it. We'll spend days capturing the footage. For Assassin's Creed, we probably spent 3 days just on capture for a 90-second trailer.
All right, we'll hold that thought, because when we come back, we're going to talk deep dives about Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty 4, how they made those trailers. You'll find out next time, right here in the bonus round. Next time on the bonus round, we give you an inside look at the making of the trailers for Call of Duty 4 and Assassin's Creed. What made the Call of Duty 4 trailers stand out?
It was so memorable. It was like people were holding their breath. I mean, everyone just went crazy.
And why did Assassin's Creed generate millions of downloads?
They did a hell of a job doing a great visual representation of telling a story.
Find out next time, right here in the bonus round.
BonusRound.